Woo! The
Woo!
ball is back, and so is the Colonel.
That's
It's
cool.
Monday night. You know what that means. It's another edition of Death Curse Society's Monday Maniacs. What's going on? I am Zigzag. Colonel back in the house. Phase right below us. What's happening, brothers? What's going on?
Not much. I regret the decision because I really don't know where to put it. So,
And it's going to have that thing bouncing all over the floor there within minutes.
there, I think it might be secure there for.
You're going to start hearing
That's
it rolling. So what's going on, fellas? Colonel's rolling balls around. Phase, what are you up to?
It's just another manic Monday, you know.
Manic Monday.
Pretty
And this
chill
week,
week.
yeah, man, it was a crazy week. I'll tell a couple stories here, but before, we'll let you know what we're doing tonight, as it's something kind of new, a new segment, as you will, if you will. I don't feel we give enough love to the classics. I mean, yeah, we do lists and stuff and include them, but we never really dive into the classics. So we're going to start a new reoccurring segment here. If this one works out, we'll see. Called the Resurrectionists, and that'll be us. And what we're going to do here is, it's not necessarily a debate or what's better. It's more of an essay. It's more of a lecture. And you can participate in this lecture and have your opinions as well, and we'll discuss. But my contention here is Phantasm is a better series than Nightmare on Elm Street. That's going to be the running theme here. So what we're going to do is get into both of these films, the whole series. We're going to talk about each one, the differences, what makes them different, what makes them better or worse, and kind of come up with a consensus. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. We're going to figure it out. But I've got Colonel and FaZe here to flank me and keep me in line or correct me if needed. But you know what I'm saying? Something a little different. What do you guys think?
Should be interesting.
Colonel?
I know this was a long-running discussion between you and myself for years now about
Yes.
So I don't know how I'm flanking you when I'm on your side.
He's on our side. Well, yes, I'm just saying, we're kind of here. We're going to be the ones posing the questions as one. So that's kind of what I meant. I don't mean me standing alone. Of course, I mean DCS standing alone here, making this bold claim, because we've caught feedback from this before. People going, "You're crazy." And there's a number of reasons. You can base it on box office. You can base it on the charisma of the characters involved. I mean, we were going to get into all this stuff tonight. It's going to be fun. I think it'll be a nice discussion, and certainly something different, something we've never done before. And that's what we're all about here. But of course, before we do that, we need to thank the life's blood of the Death Curse Society. And we must do this. We must. And we start with the final girls: Christy, C-Phase, Lorena, BD Mags, Alex, Robert, and Tyrone. Bell's Fancy Creations, Dr. Smiley, he's in the house. Raymond, and the whole damn enchilada pod. I don't know, like my whole thing froze there for a minute. That was weird. Adam, Corey, the camp counselors, Christy, Luke, Lou, Jimmy and Rachel, Stacy, Orlando, Chuck, Dave, Carl, Patricia, Kristen, and of course, we can't forget JJ. And of course, if you want to join the madness in the ranks of the DCS, we welcome you. We encourage you to do so. It's like Patreon, except the money goes right to us to get our stuff off the ground. No middleman. Every penny goes right back into the company. So thank you for that. Thank you. And you can join, find your tier at deathcursesociety.com and join the madness. And which I was just informed some information on, like, because, the members get shirts around here, the top members. So, and they're on the way now. We worked out a snafu, something we didn't catch right away, but something was amiss. But now everything is corrected and back on schedule. So, be checking your mailboxes.
We got to be working. We're still working something out here, but yeah.
But I bet the one will come anyway, and then the second one will be, we'll figure it out. We're going to get stuff, folks. That's what
we're working on it. I'm not going to guarantee you right now, though.
No guarantee, yes. But it's almost corrected. Don't worry. It's like it's a stupid thing that I don't know. Who knows what's going on? This whole world's falling apart. So, but C-Phase is here to correct it and make things right around here anyway. And we're going to get right into everything. He's pushing the buttons here behind the scenes of this Phantasm versus Nightmare on Elm Street discussion. And we're going to get to that in just a couple of minutes. What'd you guys do this week before we get going? Leading up to this.
Worked and then bathing a cold and a toothache at the same time. So I will be more silent than usual, but
that sucks.
Got my Oragel just in case.
Oragel is like it's the nectar of the gods when you have a toothache, man.
Yes, it is.
It gives you like 20 minutes of thank God.
Yeah, thank God for the Oragel.
What about you, FaZe?
I'm definitely not using it as directed. I could tell you that. I'm using it more often.
Oh well.
It said like don't use it more than 4 times a day or something.
Yeah, I do. I use it like crazy.
Every 20 minutes.
Maybe like 16 times a day is okay. It's fine. But
it'll be all right.
It's been a cold week for me. I don't know about you guys, but I mean it's -2 right now. I mean I'm getting a weather alert, whatever that is. But
yeah. Fuck hell. Saturday, what was it? The high was 44. We got like 4 inches of rain and then 2 inches of snow right after that. Like the cold front came through and just totally switched. Fucked everything up yesterday.
That sounds dangerous. Yeah, that could turn into ice and shit.
It did.
Oof.
I had good. I wrestled with snow blowers and spark plugs, but we triumphed and got it running again, and so things are working good.
I was shoveling old school, man.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm old and shit. I'll have a heart attack. I can't do that shit. Plus, we got a big driveway, as you know. But I had I had poker this week, right? So I built up from the 50-cent tournament. I got all the way to this $100 buy-in for free, right? And was playing along. This one pays like 41 grand for first place. So it's like a real fucking big deal. A 2-day tournament. Cruising along, not doing anything stupid. My game plan, just win a couple of hands per round. I'm doing just that. Couple of assholes, of course. Caught some chips early, so they're fucking raising every hand. Got a set of I got pocket kings. So the guy does the raise. I said, I'm not going to mess around in case he's got just some bullshit. Push it all in. I had about 600,000 in chips, the most I've ever had. Biggest stack in my life at this time. But that's how confident I am that this guy has bullshit. And he turns over king, queen of clubs. I'll finish the story fast. He flopped 2 clubs and hit a club on the river. And he was crushed going into it. Put his money in so bad. But that's how my day ended yesterday. Because had I made it to today, the second day, it would have started 1 hour before this very show. I could have been sitting here not paying attention to Phantasm and Nightmare on Elm Street, but trying to win $41,000, which I'm sure everybody would have understood, I hope. But didn't work out that way. So that was my fucking week.
Good.
Bad luck, man.
Good, son.
Queen. Oh, dude, it was the dumbest call I'd seen the whole night. Everyone was playing so smart in this thing, but that's, as they say, is poker. All right, say hi to who we got out here, FaZe. Who's here tonight?
Yeah, let's see here. I'll just go from the top real quick here. We've got Tyrone, of course, at the YouTube. Got Rick from the Whole Damn Enchilada. Mama FaZe. The doctor is in, always, of course. I love that message every time. It's so...
The doctor, you have to pause, is in.
Right, you got to have the pause.
You have the pause.
Yeah, Joshua's here giving us a good woo.
He's ready. He watched all the movies. He got right on his homework. So
he sure did, man. Did it more than I did, and I'm fucking in the show, for God's sake. It's, man. We got Patricia and Grizzly. Very nice. Wow, a lot of everyone saying hello to each other.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, there's Grandma FaZe. Charles, haven't seen you in a while. Welcome to the show.
Charles, what's up,
greetings
brother?
And salutations.
See, we had to bring out a crazy topic to pull Charles out and get him back out. No,
that's true. This is a pretty.
It's something different.
One. Got Gina in the house.
Gina and the Rees, get your Dragon Rees, Bell's Fancy Creations.
BK, of course.
BK. Getting another tournament together, bro. I got details probably tomorrow.
Gory Tiger. James. All right. Looks like both
Grimmer's here.
Good old Grimmer.
Welcome.
Bethany. And yes, we've got the Milwaukee Horror Con ad playing right now, but we still love you, M&K. We'll have you back after March.
Yes. Just, it's their first one. We had to give them a little shine, get some people out there. Sounds like we're attending, so.
Still... Woo, Morgan Crypt. Yay, 10 seconds. And back to belly. Love you guys.
You're in the bank. It's fine. Don't worry. We got to make that into a rotator, or it just automatically does that. Just, you know what I mean? I know.
I'll work on it.
Here yet, but
this one was a little busy.
Yes.
Maybe next week.
Oh, there was a lot of shit to put in on this. I mean, I didn't want to half-ass this. I want to sound like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this. I mean, we're going to kind of compare a couple of things. What?
Oh, just Bethany, gasp. Betrayal.
Oh, Lord, yes.
Oh, I would love it so much if you came up here and saw my neck of the woods. But that's okay.
Yeah. We got to get him up here for that, for Motor City, get him to the museum in Monroe.
Yeah, up in your neck.
Yeah.
And even Colonel's neck, too. Show him the skyline.
Skyline chili. You got to get your skyline chili.
And yes, happy birthday, Bethany. And
yes. I got her, man. We tagged her up and gave her a nice
tagged banner. Her up. There's an anniversary, too. Was that Bill and Gina?
Bill,
right?
Yes.
Bill and Gina had an anniversary this week.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Craig's in the house. Woo.
Craig's in the house. He wants to, I'm sure he has an opinion on these fine
we shall see.
Classic films. So, I mean,
I might as well get the base graphic up there. I mean,
let's do it. And it's like I said, this is not really a versus. This is not. I've had these thoughts. Colonel's had these thoughts for years, and we want to see what you think. So that's what we're doing. So it all started with Phantasm. It did. I mean, this
technically did.
This was like 79, man. So I mean, on a budget of about $300,000, it believe me, this did nowhere near the business Halloween did. Obviously, it took years to develop the cult following it got to get it to that point. To even get it took what? It was how many years till the 86 till the sequel?
Yeah.
So it was a while.
It was a minute.
8 years, something. But wow, I mean, you've heard my story. I went to a triple feature. It was The Fog, it was The Children, and I was ready to leave after that. And then this movie Phantasm comes on, and man, sucked me right in. Just wow, just stuck in my brain like that ball, So I love this movie. And then the more I saw it, like the music, I was like, that music sticks with you. This is one of the most iconic soundtracks of all time. Albeit repetitive, it's still one of the best.
Most of them are, though. I mean, Halloween it has its repetition, especially back in the late 70s, early 80s, even the late 80s. Like that, those are the best soundtracks. They had that repetition. That's just how it was.
I think Harry Manfredini kind of, for Friday the 13th, he would kind of jazz them up a little different, change them up a little bit from movie to movie.
From movie to movie especially. But
especially part 3. Shit.
Oh, yeah.
We love it, though. The strings are always there, though, in the Friday songs, So that's the staple. That's the beep, 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 the paradiddle of Halloween, So Phantasm, we have just a guy getting laid in a cemetery and then stabbed by a hot lady that turns into this freaky tall man. A funeral, a boy afraid that his big brother's going to leave him too. He's lost his parents. He's lost his other brother and it's just, there's like a whole thing there, like a loss in this movie. Like that's the sense of it all. But just the batshit craziness of what it actually is. Phantasm goes into this other dimensions and it goes into fucking other planets. I mean, let's face it. What is it? It's another dimension. It's a universe. Is it, you know what I mean? Is it coexisting or is it out in a different universe? I mean, this could be anything. He does never say. And it sucked because in Kentucky last fall, he started to tell a story of how one became two, but the Beastmaster came up in between and delayed Phantasm 2 for years. Because, and then some idiot lady was like, hey, Dad, sign this. And that was that. I never got the rest of the story. We will get Don Coscarelli on these airwaves at some point because there's just too many questions about these that I've never heard answered. So we are tracking them, man. So we're on the case. Anything to add on Phantasm, Colonel? I mean, we kind of get to just Reggie the Ice Cream Man.
Of course, introduced Reggie. I'm with Zach. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Unfortunately, I did not see this at a theater during a triple feature. I'll be honest, Phantasm 3 is where I got my start because I was the new movie at the time. So I had to backtrack to find Phantasm once I got older into my teen years. And like Zach said, just the fucked upness of dude getting fucking laid and you got this old ass dude on top of you. Soundtrack's phenomenal. It's one of my all-time favorite soundtracks for any horror film. To this day, like it's just amazing.
It just pokes you, man.
It does. Sorry, go on.
All right. So basically, Michael, he figures out that something's going on in the town, and this tall man, he sees him at a funeral pick up a coffin by himself and stick it in a hearse. So that's messed up. And so nobody believes him, of course, until like he gets in there, kind of battles with the tall man a little bit, gets a finger, chops his hand, like his fingers off. The crazy scene of the finger turns into a bug, which is, a little bit of comic relief kind of shit with it. But see, the difference between Phantasm and Nightmare on Elm Street with the comedy, it's subtle. It's just enough. It's subtle. It's never the focus of the scene. It's not meant to be the focus of the scene. It just happens to be with the corniness of the insect that's flying around in this. I'm laughing at Colonel watching him blow his honker too. This is great.
Poor guy, man.
I've been there, man. The cold sucks.
Go fuck yourself.
I just feel bad.
I mean, I'm trying to talk and I'm just hearing.
Damn it.
The fart.
Yes.
Oh. Go on.
So, okay. We do realize that his brother Jody is going to leave, and they decide and they get Reggie involved. He sees the bug and everything. And then he realizes this tall man's for real. Something's going on in this town. They start to run into these little creatures, the little almost Star Wars ripoffs, the Jawas.
Definitely Jawa ripoffs. Man.
Yeah, but they're still cool. They all have the coolest phantom face. And what they're doing is they're taking dead bodies of people. They're killing people. And then instead of, bury them in their graves, they get compressed down, sent to this other dimension and become servants of this cause to take over these dimensions all around whatever this is, the continuum. I don't know, the universe, whatever you want to call it. So basically they catch the tall man, kill him, bury him in a mine. And then, Phantasm does get a little bit weird, though, because then it's all done. They're all giving the thumbs up, and then they're in there in front of the fire, and Jody died in a car accident. That was always the one thing that bothered me about Phantasm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, well, why? Why did we have to do that? I mean, what?
I think it goes to that sense of loss that you mentioned before, because that's what this movie just really heavily about. It just gives you a sense of loss. And
yeah.
And honestly, I didn't even talking to him. I know Beastmaster got in the way. And he did mention, really didn't think that he was going to have a sequel to this. So
remember my question, though, was about the other dimension. Was it, did you mean for it to be so obtuse and not really part of the movie? So people were wondering, or did you have plans to make it bigger, but the $300,000 budget constraints can keep you that? Obviously, you can't do much with that. And he's like, well, and that's when that idiot walked up and interrupted everything. So, yeah, so we didn't. Don, if you ever hear this, please, we've got questions, and I'm sure they're decent. You seemed interested in Kentucky, so just saying. So we get the famous ending. So Reggie's like, I'm going to take care of you. Get to bed. We leave at sunup. You know, he's playing his guitar, and Mikey goes up, shuts the door. Tall man's in the room. Grab through the mirror. Roll the credits. Just a bizarre fucking movie for that time, dude. After in a sea of clones of slashers that were coming already and were about to be coming, Phantasm stood on its own and did something completely original and different.
Yes.
Phase.
It is. It really is excellent. My mom put it really good here. Something about a shoulder massager, but then Phantasm is better than NOES because the characters are more relatable. Got a rich bitch 30-year-old teenagers in a Nightmare versus people doing normal people stuff in Phantasm. You know, it's way more relatable in Phantasm. Like,
which I'll admit, Reggie, I mean, you guys have seen it. It's one of the few times ever you'll see me with like a legit natural smile. And that was when I met Reggie, because Reggie's always been like a hero of mine ever since I was a kid.
Nice.
He's an ice cream man that gets cat all the time. Sniz, whatever terminology you want to use. He's the shit. Like, he's fucking awesome.
He's cold on the sniz. No question.
Yeah.
And then, dude, they sit down and play the tune.
Yeah.
You know, that such a silly scene that all to set up the tuning fork that he could have just did before they played the song, but no. And that song, it's a stupid, just dumb, meaningless scene, but it's unforgettable. I'm just sitting here waiting to midnight.
The chat is loving Reggie.
Reggie is here for a fucking ice cream man with a 4-barrel shotgun. Like,
he's the everyman hero. He's the every regular guy, just the underdog. Does good, although the sniz gets him in trouble every movie. What is this shit?
How relatable is that?
That's the most Reggie thing of all about him. But it's what a great fucking movie. I mean, I remember being 9 years old, walking out of this, and just the Fog. Obviously, that was my jam. That was number one. But this Phantasm movie, I couldn't categorize it in my 9-year-old mind. That was a scary movie because I was scared a lot. All the mausoleum scenes and the cemetery scenes and the sounds. By the way, if you get a chance to see Phantasm 4K restored in a theater, you will trip the fuck out because they put the little things all around the surround sound now, the little things grunting and shit. Very cool.
That would be awesome. I would love to catch this in theaters, in particular, the original Phantasm. Just that soundtrack alone would be just fantastic.
Yeah. I went because they did it in Ann Arbor. You paid like $30 and shit, and you got like 2 drinks, and it was crazy. But I mean, just watching it with a bunch of like-minded fans like myself, dude, we all were reduced to 9 years old again. I mean, it was great. It was so good. So yeah, we love Phantasm. We love it. This is great. We love the tall man. We love Michael. We love Reggie. We love Jody. All of them. Just so you're rooting for these fucking guys, and just nothing works out for them. And then we switch it over here.
Another movie that we love.
1984. Just 5 years later, Wes Craven shows up and creates a guy based on a bully and a creepy guy he'd see around his neighborhood. And Freddy Krueger's born. Now, my argument, if we're just to go Phantasm 1 versus Nightmare on Elm Street 1, I think it's a fucking trouncing, and Nightmare on Elm Street wins in a blowout.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street, in my opinion, the first one's one of the scariest movies of all fucking time, man. It's like just a truly great horror film.
It's the same thing when you walked out. I wasn't thinking there's going to be sequels and stuff like that. I just went, I'm never going to forget that fucking name, Freddy Krueger. That's what I was thinking. I go, that fucking guy was scary. So, this one opens with the assembly of the famous glove, during the credits, almost like shot in like a 16 millimeter small frame, all dirty and everything, just perfect. And then right to Tina's dream, we get a glimpse of Freddy, the scratching, the fucking heavy synthesized droning fucking soundtrack that came with this movie. Fucking stunning, man. And then we get to meet. I disagree because these kids they're likable too. They are likable in the first film and the third film. But Heather Langenkamp, Nancy Thompson, she's a worthy final girl. She is absolutely the prototype. You're rooting for her. You want her to win. She's strong. She can fight. She's smart. But she can still get terrified and scared and do the running and falling thing that we all need with our final girls. So, you get their bonding, and yet they're realizing they all have the same nightmare with the same guy. And let's go to Tina's parents are leaving. Come and spend the night. The guys come over. Rod, is there for Tina, so they're going to the bedroom. We got the parents' room. You guys got the rest. But Nancy, she's not there for that with her boyfriend Glenn. She's there for Tina. We're here for her tonight. Which, that's what every dude wants to hear in that situation, right? Are you still trying on the couch, Colonel? Are you still making a move?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Not really. At this age, Netflix and chill literally is Netflix and chill. I'm tired. I don't have time.
Shit goes off the rails fast. Tina falls asleep after getting drilled. Sounds be pretty like a good one. And she's sleeping, and right away in her dream, I mean, I hated it. It's so scary because like there's rocks just hitting the window. But I mean, like, she's like, every time she tries to focus, another one, cack, and it actually chips the glass and everything. That shit always bothered me. You know what I mean? That's already uneasy. It's unsettling for some reason. But, she goes out there and boom, there's Freddy, gets into a scuffle, and then Rod wakes up. Nobody's in the room with him, but she's getting sliced to ribbons, flipping all over the room. One of the most amazing kills ever filmed. We've talked about that in the past, I think, in our top kills episode somewhere out there. And Rod bails. He's blamed for the killing. Nancy's father is the sheriff. And it's just like, fuck, man. We know something's up, but, nobody else can believe it until Rod gets killed in prison. And then Freddy starts, she's now neglecting her sleep, trying to stay awake. So he's fucking with her now, comes after Nancy in school. And she starts to realize things. She goes to a dream clinic to sleep and get studied. Comes out with a fedora from the dream, which was always a really cool concept, and basically gets locked down by her drunken mother as one by one her friends and boyfriend get picked off by Freddy. They just think she's psychotic. Some people think she's behind it. And then she goes after Freddy her own way, but not before booby trapping the whole house, which I always love that scene too. Faze, anything to add on Nightmare on Elm Street?
I mean, it's the OG. I mean, just like Phantasm, it's great. I would give Phantasm the edge with the originals, but I mean, I love the original Nightmare. I mean, I guess you'll find out a little bit later here. I actually prefer the second one, unlike most people, but hey, that's just my opinion.
No, that the people.
This one,
yeah.
This one just has those moments, It's one of the few scary Nightmare on Elm Streets, and I appreciate that for that alone. Because I don't like the direction that he goes into later, which we will get into that as the show goes on.
Well, this is peak Wes Craven. This right here.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And the humor is right on point. I mean, Johnny Depp, you had really good acting in Nightmare on Elm Street. That's something I've always appreciated. I mean, obviously, everybody went on to had pretty long careers, many movies and shows and shit like that. So, of course, we get Nancy. She brings Freddy into the real world, like our side, and then he's has to contend with all her booby traps, and then ends up lighting him on fire, where he attacks Mom upstairs, and then they fade away into the bed. Dad gets in there. He sees it, so now he's a believer. And he leaves to go outside, and she's like, I'll be right down. And then, of course, Freddy comes up through the bed in a pretty crazy, he's burned to a crisp, but looks even scarier somehow. And USA number 1-0, by the way, over Sweden. The other thing I did, watch some hockey, the Four Nations. And then she does what, it's funny, man. It's something that I think all kids do at some point. You take the power away from the demons in your dreams that are tormenting you. You turn your back on them. You take their power away. So she does this to Freddy, and everything goes back to normal. All her friends are back to life. Everything's bright, and Mom's not drinking anymore, and it's all good. And then they jump in the car to go to school. The hood pops up. It's Freddy's sweater, and Mom gets pulled through the fucking door with the kids doing the jump rope, leaving you like, oh man, this isn't over. You know, like we're pretty much, you know, we already had several Friday the 13th by now, a few Halloweens by now, you know, so let's see, what is 1984? So no, we hadn't had, but we had Halloween 3. We just had Halloween 3 like a year prior. So,
and of course, Smiley points out the sex doll through the door. That's very cheap but amazing effect.
Oh, those legs. There's no knees on that thing if you look at it, man. It's so funny.
You wouldn't do that with the modern sex doll, I'll tell you that.
No, man. It's like that companion thing going on, you know? I don't know, man. I think everybody laughed at that shit. Like, but it fits the fucking slasher from the 80s, so why the fuck not? We went with it. Masterpiece. Nightmare on Elm Street. Awesome. It's incredible. Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. Wow. What a fucking character.
He is really good, yes. My mom gives 2 more arguments for Phantasm. This is reason number 2 why Phantasm is better. The DP, which I think she's talking about the director of photography, because she's talking about the colors, the shadows, and the lighting, which is certainly fair. I mean, they're both really good in that aspect, but I can see why you give Phantasm the edge.
I'm surprised you haven't brought up the Ed Wood type tombstones that are all around that you can see are the paint's dripped off half of them and stuff.
Man, no kidding.
They just left it in, especially in the fucking retouched version. But again, these are all things I just totally fine. Let it go. It's not going to take me out of this. I won't let it.
She says reason number 3. The terror in Phantasm creeps up on you more so than Nightmare. Okay, it's possible I've just seen Nightmare too many times, which is true. I will say I've definitely seen Nightmare more than Phantasm. It's just, for me, some of those movies are a bit more rewatchable, but I could still say the Phantasm movies are better. I don't know. I feel like the Freddy movies are more popcorny. Like you could just kind of sit back and have them in the background. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny because they tried to do Phantasm 2. Again, we started to get the fucking story, and then had to wait for a while to get it done, and some more money to come from other places to get it done in a different distributor. But they got it done. So we go to Phantasm 2.
Yes, this is a really good comment here, real quick. I'm just going to say from Tyrone. In my young imagination, while contemplating scenarios in my mind, Phantasm scared me at a different level. Way more bad dreams with Phantasm than with Elm Street. I could see that 100%. Well,
the small things where, like, he wakes up in the bed and the corpses all jump up and start grabbing him, that had a profound effect on my head.
Oh, totally. But yes, we can get into Phantasm too. We should probably be a little faster with these.
Right. I just the two gems of the series I wanted to spend a little time. But now we will we will fly here. Phantasm 2 was a little crazy. It was stunning because we were like, oh my God, they're back. But the problem,
major problem
with this one is Mike is not a Michael Baldwin in this one, but a fella named, let's see, what's his name? LaGrosse. James LaGrosse plays Mike. Although he does an admirable job. Would you agree, Colonel, that he pretty much, I thought he did okay.
He did, but it's
not him.
The same. It doesn't feel the same. I think you're with me, especially, hindsight being 2020. Again, I wasn't there when Phantasm 2 came out. I was alive. I wasn't watching it. So I had no comparison. I go 3, 4, 1, 2. To me, that continuity break in character made it feel a little off. I'm not saying he did a bad job.
Yes, but at the same time, why he didn't do a bad job, it's not how a Michael Baldwin would have played this character. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
This guy's a little more excitable than our regular Michael.
I thought he was okay. It's definitely different. You can't ever pull off the same thing when you're obviously a different person. It's not going to work, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, it's 7 years after the events of the original Phantasm. A now 19-year-old Mike has been institutionalized, and he fakes recovery just to get out and get back on the trail of the tall man. He visits Morningside, and every grave is exhumed and empty. There's nothing left. Reggie shows up, trying to convince him that all these experiences were not real. But when Mike reveals the coffins are all empty, he asks Richie to help hunt him down. And when they get to Reggie's house, Mike has a premonition where the whole thing blows up, right? His whole family dies. Well, then it happens for real. So now Reggie's all in to take down the tall man for revenge. And it's pretty much, it's the same kind of thing after that. They're trailing, they meet a new girl heading down as they're traveling. I think they're going to Oregon in the second one. That's where the trail leads them.
I believe so,
yeah. And there's this woman named Liz who's kind of telepathically channeling Mike to come and save her because of the tall man. So they're head for her. They get there, like her grandfather dies, so now the tall man's after her. And like she's got her grandmother there too, but then tall man gets the grandmother and says, if you want her back, be here tonight at the morgue, and so they get there. There's let's see here, Paragon deserted. She gets to the mortuary. There's Father Myers, tries to help, tries to convince her to just leave. Let's go, let's get out of there, but he can't because he's killed by one of the spears. And then the tall man shows up with Grandma, who's now one of the lurkers, one of the little shrimpy Jawas. So, which is kind of a horrific scene because she reacts pretty good to it, pretty authentically. Liz gets out of there and finally runs into Mike out in the cemetery. And then it's back and forth, cat and mouse. Right down to the end, they think they got the tall man right where they want him again. They get him in the morgue. Like Michael gets strapped down, but he breaks out, and then they stick him with the embalming fluid that has acid in it, so the tall man melts away. He's completely defeated. They get out. They're in the hearse. They're trying to get out. They set the morgue on fire. Oh yeah, I forgot. They got Bridges' little sex interest. He had Alchemy, they call her, and she picks him up. She's driving the hearse, so they get everybody, and then Alchemy is not human. She pulls the side of her hair off, and her head's all just flesh and blood. And then the kids are in the back. Mike and Liz going, "This is just a dream. It's just a dream." And then tall man, "No, It's not. Pulls them both through the glass, much like the ending of Phantasm 1, and that's the wrap on that one. You know, again, Richie gets killed in like every movie, but somehow he's back.
You can't keep the fucking bad man down, you know?
Can't beat the ice cream man, dude. But you know, Phantasm 2, it's great for continuing the storyline, though. It's very strong that way. And it's like, okay, you get a glimpse, but you don't get the whole plot yet of what the tall man is up to.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool. I like how that, because it's annoying when they don't give you enough, but here it works because you're still seeing aftermath of what he's doing. So collecting all these bodies, something cool is going to happen. So we're going to follow this shit.
Continuity.
Yes.
Key word for the night.
So important. And the main thread of the argument here. So there was a couple good ball kills in that one too, man.
There was. And I'll admit, I'm ashamed. I got that box set, that Blu-ray box set that came out, 7 years ago now? 6, 7 years ago? Still have yet to watch the X-rated version of Phantasm 2. I know.
You're fired.
I know. But I got a cool sphere out of it.
You did. I don't have that, and it's like $100 now. I'm not.
I wish, dude. If I had the money, man, I would have taken that to fucking Lexington last October. Got that bitch signed.
Yes. Although I'm happy with the album cover.
You should be. That's pretty sick.
Yes. So 2 solid movies so far from Phantasm that complement each other very well. The only standout in 2 is this James, LaGrasse in the place of a Michael Baldwin as Michael, but that's something we won't have to worry about much longer.
No, we won't.
So, after Phantasm 2, it's the same year we get, or was it? I think Elm Street 2 came out maybe a year before Phantasm, maybe 6-8 months before.
I think so. I could have swore Nightmare 2 came out in 85. Could be wrong.
Yes.
Though.
Yeah, it says 85, so that's 3 years before.
Okay, and we had quite a departure from Nightmare on Elm Street 1 to 2.
All right. Before you get too far on Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, I'll give my thoughts because, like I said, you're doing a great job steering the ship. So I'm going to get my review for Nightmare on Elm Street 2 out of the way. This is not to offend anybody, but, man, I'm going to be straight up. This movie still fucking sucks to this day to me. I fucking can't stand it. It's awful. I've tried to even watch it with a new mind, new point of view. Let me try. No, this movie's fucking whack, dude. There, I'm done. If you like it, you like it. I'm not saying you shouldn't. For me personally, it's fucking whack. It was too far of a departure from the first one for me. The whole possession and
Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is greater than Phantasm 2.
That's what she says.
I'm not going to say she's wrong. My opinion, she is, but
I like these films about the same. It's because Freddy is scary here still. His look is so good. It's so skeleton-y. I love it.
It's my favorite Elm Street movie, damn it.
Dude, that's the best Freddy scene ever. You are all my children now, with the fire behind him, dude.
I can agree with that.
Dude, I'm sorry, that's corny as fuck.
They're all corny as fuck, though, man.
I know, but that's super
on key for
corny,
Freddy.
Man. Super fucking corny.
Plus, Mark Patton is the best scream queen of them all.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I don't think there's a soul out there that didn't realize that this man was a gay man playing a straight man, okay? It just, the chemistry was not there with Kim, the fuck is her name now? I just did her birthday, for fuck's sake. Anyway, yeah. The one that played the love interest in Elm Street 2. But Patton did a great job with the torment of what was happening to him with this. And the metamorphosis of Freddy, like, coming out of his body and shit, dude. That was cool, man.
Yeah, that was cool, but it doesn't make the movie better for me. Just being honest.
I say it was quite a departure from what they did in Elm Street 1, but I mean, it just kind of lets you know that anything was possible in this realm now. That's what I kind of took from 2.
Sure. It's Kim Myers, by the way.
Kim Myers, that's it. Thank you.
A lot of people agree that with the part 2 sentiment, Colonel, that it's not great, and some other people are on my side too, like my mom and
I think
Ricky says yes. He, at least with Mark Patton, is his favorite final girl in the series, which I have to agree.
I said I ain't gonna knock you for liking it or even thinking it's better. I respectfully disagree.
Robert Russler.
God, I don't recognize this viewer. We got Angie in the chat saying 3 Dream Warriors is the best, which is a very common opinion, and we will get to that.
We are going to get to the Dream Warriors for sure. Yep. Angie is a local hero here in Detroit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Sure. She's a queen. Okay, let's see. Freddy's Revenge. I'll tell you where they lost me were those dogs. Those human-faced dogs were not good.
I mean, no, I'll give you that.
And they did, you know what, Freddy is it now that I think about it, man, it's the only time that he was really kind of showed any kind of, you know what I mean, where Jesse was kind of controlled. Remember, he walked away when she showed up, when the girl showed up at the cookout, and he walked into the hedge. That was like Jesse restraining him there. So I mean, you don't get that the rest of the way with Freddy Krueger at all, ever again. I mean, not that, I guess he was just himself, though. He wasn't possessed in anybody. He wasn't anybody using him like that. So Departure, different kind of movie. It's not as good as the first one. I like it just as much as Phantasm 2, though. Anything to add, Colonel?
No.
I think I already gave his piece.
Is watchable. Elm
He
Street
said it
2
sucks.
is whack. Just fuck with it.
Okay. So, all right, let's move along to Phantasm 3, The Lord of the Dead.
Oh, yes.
Now, these next 2 Phantasm films were direct to video, which was kind of put a stigma on it, man. You know, at that time, if your movie went right to video, it was kind of deemed shitty already.
Shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, and this was the heyday of it. But, I mean, we're not going to not watch a Phantasm movie. So we were like, okay, let's do this. And pleasantly surprised. It's 2 years after. And it's the same thing, man. Like Reggie's after Mike. And we meet another love interest, and we meet a boy named Tim who's been like kind of handling his own, like living on his own. He's got his house all booby trapped, and like marauders come and he takes them out. Like he's killing them, you know, he's like a Frisbee with razor blades on it. Just cool shit like that. Fun stuff. I'll go to the thing here and see where they go with. So because I don't remember where they end up, because Phantasm goes all over the fucking place, man. The map.
It kind of does, yeah. Is that the one where it turns road trippy, or is that 4?
4 really gets road trippy. You know,
Okay.
this one, Mike wakes up in the hospital. The nurse is over him. You know, Mike's been comatose after the near-death experience and all that shit, and he sees his brother Jody appear. The tall man shows up, and then Mike wakes up and he's still in the bed at the hospital. But then the nurse turns around and she's all got one of the Phantasm devices to get into his head. You know, Reggie saves him, and her scalp, there's a ball inside of her head, of course, flies out the window. And then once it sees Mike awake, you know, they go to Reggie's house, and the tall man shows up, gets Reggie pinned against the wall with a whole bunch of spheres on him, you know. like pins him up. I'm getting a little ahead of it too. Like the one sphere looks like it's going to attack them, and it turns out to be it's Jody. His brother Jody shows up, and he can project himself outside the sphere, but his power is limited, and the tall man still has the final say. And once he realizes that he's gone, he's got to leave again. So he's giving them tips, almost like video game, like, yeah, you know, this is what you need to do. Here's the mission. You know,
he was definitely an NPC in that shit.
NPC. Here we go. Holtzville, Idaho is where they go in this one.
Okay. Who would remember that? The fuck?
Well, having just watched them, I thought I would, but
bumfuck Idaho.
So we
You got good potatoes.
No offense to any people who live in Idaho. Which
potatoes are awesome, man. We love fucking potatoes. You kidding me?
I do too, man. Man. Mashed potatoes is like my favorite. But
Give me the color. It has to be an Idaho potato.
Reggie gets to this, and it's a ghost town here in Holtzville, Idaho. Potatoes and all. 3 looters catch him and throw him in the trunk of his own 1970 Cuda. And then Tim shows up, kills the looters, almost kills Reggie, but then realizes that Reggie's just, trying to find Mike. So he's like, all right. Tim has his own experiences with the tall men who took his parents. And they get out and they spend the night there. In the morning, they find the graves of the looters that Tim killed are now open graves, and the bodies are gone. They split. They hit the road. Reggie gets Tim to come with him, but he tries to leave him at an orphanage. But, okay, he's too smart for that. He jumps into the trunk. Reggie finds another mausoleum where he runs into one of the spheres, and 2 young women, Tanisha and Rocky, kind of handcuff him, and they're going to take him down. Looks like they're going to kill him. He tries to tell him, but Tanisha's killed by the ball right in the head, just as we love to see. And then Tim appears with his pistol and shoots the spear, and Reggie join forces with Rocky. There's a convoy of hearses driven by the Gravers. You know, these like they're kind of like the morticians that work for the tall man. They're human, but they're like kind of, black-eyed and just handlers. We started seeing them in 2. So they follow him. They go to the tall man's lair, and then they rescue Mike. As Reggie gets woken up, Jody opens a portal. Mike comes through the portal. The tall man tries to follow, but Reggie closes it and severs the tall man's hands. And we found out at this point that there's an endless supply of tall mans. Every time one is defeated, the next through the portal takes the old body back and then continues the search. I mean, it's very Terminator-like. But the mission will continue. They fight off all the minions and the undead looters. They go into a huge mausoleum. It's the city of Bolton. And they discover like a cryonics facility where Mike recalls the tall man doesn't like the cold. So they get this whole plan together. And Jody explains to them that the tall man is taking the brains out of people and encasing them into the balls. So that they're going to take over. They're just going to take the whole earth is in danger now at this point. So 2 looters, they get Tim, they capture him, they get him strapped to a gurney, and then Mike is there. He's trying to say, like, man, all these fears are coming, but he can't say anything. Rocky defeats the people attacking her. She gets Reggie. Tim is freed by Jody, the Jody Sphere, and then they run into the remaining looters who are killed by the Jody Sphere and Reggie with the gun, of course. The 4 shotgun, epic weapon. This is something I would collect if I could get one. They crash into the embalming room and they find the tall man operating on Mike. Rocky impales the tall man with a spear dipped in liquid nitrogen. They lock him in the freezer. However, there's a golden sphere inside the tall man's head. It busts through and attacks him. Reggie catches it with a toilet plunger and they throw it in a nitrogen tank, defeating it. Mike notices his head is bleeding yellow. and then finds a golden ball under his own skin, like right there. And then his eyes kind of turn into silver balls. So it's like, oh shit, they got Mike. And he starts complaining how cold it is. He runs away, tells Richie to stay away. And then Jody imparts some cryptic words on Reggie before he transforms and leaves too. They jump in the hearse. Tim reports that Mike tried to warn him, but thousands of the spheres were coming to attack. Reggie is pinned to the wall. And then Reggie tells Tim to run, get away. A brand new tall man walks in, and Tim is dragged through the freezer glass window, much like Phantasm 1 and Phantasm 2, leaving our mission still going, Phantasm wide open, story intact to this point. Boys?
Consistency.
Yes, consistency.
Continuity, the two words.
Continuity intact.
Also, people, if you listen to this, imagine being a young colonel when this is the first Phantasm movie. That's some wild fucking shit, dude. That's what I was like. My uncle's just pounding beers out of his apartment. He was babysitting us that night and rented fucking Phantasm 3. Like, oh, hell yeah. I was like, I never seen it before. He's like, you going to watch it tonight? So I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck did I just watch? This movie's fucking awesome. That's where I fell in love with Reggie. Like, man, this dude getting fucking laid. All kinds of shit. Like, again, it's just fucking awesome. This blew me the fuck away. This is why Phantasm 3 is probably my favorite. A lot of it's nostalgic, I'll be honest, but
by now there's a proven formula for Phantasm, but somehow in these 5 movies it never disappoints. It's similar in each outing, but it's exactly what you're looking for. You know what I mean, with these characters. So am I wrong there? I mean, it seems to work. I know it's similar and kind of some of it is the same, but at the same time, it's damn, man.
It is. It's good. And like I said, it's one long story. You watch these movies, it's literally a consistent fucking story. As we're about to find out here soon, World of Nightmare said, well, box office wasn't too great. Well, let's run it back a little bit.
Let's run it back. Let's what worked last time? Well, we had Heather Langenkamp.
And Wes Craven. And
Wes Craven.
Yeah. So we go to the Dream Warriors, folks. And yes, I'm very much on record saying fucking I'll take Nightmare on Elm Street and Dream Warriors, and you can have the rest. That's all I need. I'd be fine with that.
Damn, you guys, dude. Part 2 hate. I'll have part 2 then. I'll have it all to myself. You guys can have 1 and 3.
It's 1, 3, 2 for me.
Fine. 2, 1, 3 for me.
I'll summarize because we're got a lot to go here. So quickly, we've got a new character, Kristen, and she, same thing, is having problems and she's having nightmares and she's trying to stay awake. So she ends up in an asylum. We meet a whole cast of people that have the same kind of trauma. They're having trouble sleeping due to nightmares because a lot of them aren't saying. There's a guy with the glove and the sweater and the hat and the burned face. So it's cool. We got like a nice, like, I love the staff in the Dream Warriors. I forget the cat's name. He's the guy from Ghost Story.
I was thinking Lawrence Fishburne being one of the...
Well, Fishburne's one of the handlers.
Handlers, yeah.
Let me go to it. I'll get it cast.
While you're doing that...
Greg Wasson.
Never mind. I'll wait.
Go ahead.
No. Jumping a little bit ahead, but I'm here with Bethany, and apparently the doc... OG, Dream Warriors, and New Nightmare. Those are my... If I had to pick 3 Nightmare movies, those are the 3 I would pick. Oh, shit. Good night, Lorena.
Yep.
Good night.
Good night.
Tough day, long day, tough day tomorrow. We'll get into the New Nightmare briefly too, only because it only has the characters from the original Nightmare as the actors playing the same character. Very cool and meta when it wasn't cool to be meta. So we'll do that in a minute. So Nancy shows up at this asylum because like she can relate to this, you know. She's like, I've been through this, and starts to help them. And then they realize that Kristen can bring people in and out of her dreams at will. And all these kids have, because one's in a wheelchair, one's deaf, all these things, but they have superpowers when they go to the dream world. Very cool. And it was, Kincaid, he's a super strong guy. And, you have the wizard, you got the badass, drug addict. But, so basically Freddy starts to hunt him down within the asylum. They get Nancy banned from the place because now somebody's died and another one's in a coma due to her interactions with them. So they realize they've got to go in to get Josh. He's the silent one. He's the one that doesn't speak. And it's cool, man. The dream world's cool, and Freddy does his thing. Freddy's this one had, the puppeteer kill in this one stands out for me.
Yeah, that's by far my favorite kill in this movie. I mean, they're all imaginative, but to me, this is where the kills get really fucking imaginative.
If Nightmare on Elm Street as a series has any kind of advantage or edge over this whole thing, it will be on the creative kills, because they did do some cool stuff. They went out of their way to be super creative with the kills. I'll give them that. So we're in the dream world, and yes, we lose a couple, but we get everybody back. Freddy's defeated again, but we lose Nancy. Freddy gets her dad, John Saxon, to come back. And
a fair piece in Hollywood. I've
crossed over, but it's really Freddy, and he gets Nancy this time. So now she's out, at least till the meta one comes up.
And don't mention fighting Freddy's skeleton.
Oh,
that's one of a few slights against this one, because I love Dream Warriors. I still think the original is the best, but this one is a very close second. But even that scene today, it's like,
even though the design of the skeleton is cool, it's still the Ray Harryhausen style that they did, the stop motion shit, just not good. Not good. No. Relevant to the story, though. He had to go to protect the bones. I like that. Very video game kind of like it, had to stop him. And at the same time, she didn't know her dad was killed at that time, so that's crazy. So, but he gets Nancy, and then they defeat him. The Dream Warriors prevail, and I think that one ends with the wooden house. The light goes on at the end as we head into Dawkins' Dream Warriors to take us out. When I close my eyes.
Enough.
Watch it. Shit. They're tight on that one.
Yeah. So yeah, we kind of went right through it quick, but what a great concept, and a return to kind of the roots of what worked in the fucking first one. Come and get him, bitch. Let him go, you bastard.
Yeah. But also, like I said, the introduction to comedian Freddy as well.
Pop culture Freddy.
Yes.
Welcome to prime time, bitch. That started it all. And hence my dismay with the rest of the series from this point on.
Yeah, I was going to say, even as a kid, to me, the shtick got a little old. I know we'll get to the movie eventually, but now I'm playing with power. Like,
fuck's sake.
Maybe that's just me being a hater because I never had the Power Glove for the NES.
Oh, you wanted a Power Glove, but
fuck yeah, I wanted a Power Glove. Of course I did.
That application was terrible. And for Nintendo to buy their way into a fucking Nightmare on Elm Street movie, for fuck's sake.
It's still funny.
Just
love the Dream Warriors. It's a solid 8. Probably story-wise, I still like the original the best because you don't know what to expect. Like you can't already expect the unexpected with 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see this one. Edge goes out to. Yep, Josh says right there. Welcome to prime time, bitch. I mean, I'll be honest. Everybody loves it. Even if you don't like pop culture, Freddy, that line is fucking classic.
A great scene. You know, I mean, it totally worked.
But yeah, out of these, like I said, I'm giving the edge to Phantasm 3 again, mainly just for nostalgia reasons. It's too close. Like they're both 8s. I just have to pick one.
I had to go see this one again because there was a distraction when I was seeing it the first time. So
in the popcorn bucket.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It was I was at that age, man. It was like 15 or something. So
the salt burns, but
yeah. I had to go wait. And the next weekend, I went and saw it again. I was like, "Fuck, pretty good movie." The Dream Warriors, man. It's great. It's fucking totally worth it. It's a definite flagpole of the franchise. I mean, hands down. Nothing bad to say about it. And then just from there, everything went bad. But Phantasm stayed consistent. Oblivion.
Not to be confused with Elder Scrolls, we're talking about Phantasm.
Yes. And the budget dropped considerably for this one.
Yeah.
I think they did 2.5 million on 3, and this one was like 1.8 or something like that. So it wasn't a lot, but they once again picked the story up right at the end of 3. You know exactly what's going on. They always do those little rehashes at the beginning of the Phantasm that catches you up, or a narrative where it's Reggie, like, I'm Reggie, because it started with this guy, in Morningside, a tall man. We almost got him here, but then we had to go here and he got him, it's all, you're all caught up within minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about Reggie at this point. He's committed to finding Mikey. He wants to find Mikey.
Oh.
It's not just my end, is it?
No, it's
okay.
Thank God, I was worried about that too. I mean, Patricia has a good comment to fill in the gap here. First Phantasm movie dropped in 1979. I feel like there's also an age gap with people who grew up with Phantasm versus the people who grew up on Nightmare. Even though it was only 5 years later. I mean, there's a point there. I feel like I was after all of it.
Yeah, there's a very good point there, but I also have to remember we're talking Freddy Krueger. I mean, toys, 1-900 numbers, own spinoff series. You're talking mainstream, you're talking underground. It's essentially not the way I look at the two characters in the franchises. All right, we back, Ziggy?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I saw my fucking bars going down there.
Yeah, you were gone.
You're deep in thought.
I saw you both. You guys never left. You were like, "Uh-oh, is it just you or just me?" And I went like,
"Yeah,
all that." I was like, and then all of a sudden my bars went down to 1, and I went, "Ah!" And then everybody turned to circles for a 1 count, and then it slowly went back up to 5 again. So
damn Michigan internet,
dude, we're getting all of phases bullshit. Frozen tundras coming at us. So yeah. So what did you hear in the last thing I said?
Pretty much Reggie doing the Friday 13th recap. Like
pretty much.
Recap, yes. Yep, picks up. Mike escapes the Bolton mortuary in a hearse, and Reggie is trapped by the tall man Spears, but instead of being killed, he releases him. He comes out and waves the balls away and says, "The final game begins." You play a good game to Reggie, So Jody is still a black sphere at that point, and he can still come back and be human, but he can't do much else. Can't get involved, Reggie gets hit with a demon attack, and then he survives that. And he, of course, meets a very attractive woman named Jennifer, who's got a car crashed on the side of the road. and gets her to join up. And they go back to her place. Meanwhile, Mike tries to escape his transformation. Remember, he had the silver eyes and the ball in his head. And what's cool with this movie is there's lots of footage from Phantasm 1 that went unused that they thread through this movie. And it's flawless. It's poignant. It fits. You know, it's like it's always Mike reminiscing about his childhood, you know, because you're starting to get a sense that he's going to die or become a minion of the Tall Man, or perhaps the Tall Man himself. It's not really stated, but there are a couple of hints. So Mike's having visions. He sees the fortune teller. Remember the movie with the box that's stuck in his hand and everything? Mm-hmm. Yes, he's like, so he's seeing that fortune teller that, you know, and then Tall Man appears. He says he's taking Mike to prepare for passage. And Mike is, he goes to Death Valley, and, you know, it's all fucking desert in this movie mostly. There's not a whole lot of mortuaries. There's not a whole lot of, you know, graveyards. You could tell the scenery was limited. So, hey, let's just fucking do it in the desert. But they made it work. The continuity works. So we're going through Death Valley to get to our next destination, a desert, and Mike tries to hang himself, like just to end it. He's going to stop his plans by killing himself. But Tall Man shows up and just said it's forbidden to take your own life. He won't let him, and shows him two forks. You know, he got the two pillars. And he walks up and goes through, and Mike's back in time. He goes back in time and finds Jebediah Morningside, who is the Tall Man, but he is a kind old gentleman, a smart scientist who invented a time machine in the 1860s. I was fucking blown away by this whole reveal when this first saw this. What'd you think of that shit, Colonel?
I was definitely blown away because it wasn't something I would have expected. You know what I mean? It's just like,
well, it's so nice.
Huh?
You know, I was like, okay, he's faking again, because he's done things where he's like, you know, just acted like he's not going to do anything, and then all of a sudden, you think you could get away from me, boy? And not this time. You know, he's like, no, wait. He's like, you're closed. He's like, you're from the future. You came through the gate. You came through the gate, didn't you? He's like, wait, we have questions. Mike can't get by it. So he runs back through, he turns it back on and goes back through the forks, and he ends up in a different time, you know, back in the desert. But now there's tuning forks everywhere, like sets, dozens, everywhere. So assuming like they're going to take him somewhere, you know, no matter which one he goes through. And then he's also realizing that he's got a telekinesis he can do now. Like he can actually make things move. So one of those little Jawas pop up out in the rocks, and he makes a boulder fall and squish the monster and shit. So his brother Jody appears, but he doesn't trust him now, you know, because he says, you abandoned me. And it's kind of a heavy moment between the two, you know what I mean? Because it's true. If you go back to the first fucking movie, Jody was going to leave him. So, I mean, I love the callback. It's so strong, even 40 years later. Mike starts fucking with the hearse's engine, and he's using parts. He kind of makes his own sphere out of the parts, and he can make it move, you know, with his telekinesis. Let's see. Reggie's back. They hit an abandoned hotel for the night with his new girl, and she doesn't want to mess with him, but then he's like going to write her a song. You know what? That's the fifth one. Never mind. They're at this. He does. He lays down and he gets to have this girl too. He gets that. He gets in the sniz, and then he's getting a look at her in the morning, and the blanket's all moving around. And he does the far out. He pulls the blanket off, and her tits have become two spheres that bust loose. And She gets up too and attacks him. He fights her off and kills him. Mike goes through another gate. He finds himself in another city where he escapes the tall man with Jody's help. Reggie arrives at Death Valley, fights off a group of the dwarves, 4-way shotgun, of course. Mike warns Reggie not to trust Jody before departing again. They pass through the gate to Jebediah's house, but he can't see them, but he turns the machine on. The tall man goes in, or Jebediah goes in. The tall man comes out. Looks like Jebediah. It's now the tall man. It's an incarnation who comes in his place. Mike jumps back into the gate, and Jody attacks him. The tall man kind of controlling him at this point. Mike wakes up on the embalming slab, uses the tuning fork, the classic tuning fork, to immobilize Jody and the tall man as they attempt to cut open his head. And they make the tall man kill Jody, of course. He finally fries him. Tall man revives, and he pursues Mike to Death Valley. Reggie tries to shoot the tall man. He's overpowered. Mike summons the spear that he created that impales the tall man's neck before activating the hearse's motor to explode, destroying him before a new tall man immediately comes through the gate, removes the golden sphere from Mike's head before departing. Reggie goes on to pursue the tall man. Left to die, Mike recalls a childhood memory where Reggie gives him a ride. And this is another one of those classic unused footage scenes from the original Phantasm. And they both hear their future exchange before Reggie's departure, The younger Mike says, it's just the wind. And they kind of leave it at that. Which honestly would have been a fine ending with this. But, I dig it because it's still like we're on Mike now, and the focus is on what is his fate, what is going to happen to Mike, because like now the ball's out of his head, but he's still, so where are we at with this? And I like it. I where other movies leave questions unanswered, this one is fucking. I'm still okay. I'm satisfied. The continuity is intact. Phase?
I'll be honest. I'll just have to agree with you because we kind of need to speed it up here. But by this time, I watched 2, 3, and 4 all at once, and I pretty much fell asleep during this one. So my memory is pretty hazy of it. But it's a good one from what I remember. From what you're describing, I kind of want to rewatch it and watch 5 as well, and actually finish the series.
It sucks because you can see the budget dollars going down with the sets and everything, but
right.
It's okay because it's still the writing is so fucking strong. And Coscarelli actually had his own version of this he wanted to do, but they couldn't get the funding going for it. So this is like a fan kind of wrote this, and Coscarelli was like, you know what, this isn't bad, and kind of they got it done. And this one is the one they actually went in front of the cameras and everything. So. Like I said, I love Phantasm, and so far as going into Ravager, I'm like, wow, I can't believe they've kept the continuity line that strong and solid the whole fucking way.
Well, it definitely helps. You pretty much have one creative mind behind the whole franchise. Which is a huge help. And again, I got time constraints. I won't say too much. I will agree with you. For me, this is where my Phantasm journey ended. I'm more than satisfied with this ending to that story because I'll be honest, I can't bring myself to watch Ravager, dude. I'm so scared it's going to ruin Phantasm for me. So that's even for this, I still haven't watched it.
Listen to me. I watched it again just to make sure because I kind of went like, what the fuck is everybody talking about? This isn't that bad. Now it's got some cheese CGI in it in Ravager.
Well, of course.
Colonel, finish the story, dude. Trust me.
All right.
Finish the story. You won't be sad. You won't be mad. Because you are a fan and appreciate the other 4. You will see this is not as bad as what. Is it the worst of the 5? Yes. 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 The continuity line still there? Fuck yes. All these years later, and a new fucking wrinkle with playing on whether or not Reggie has dementia. That is what makes it so cool.
Huh, okay.
But we're going to do 4 and 5 for Nightmare on Elm Street together here. Because it's kind of the same thing.
Sure, I mean, I just have a graphic for one, but I'll just do that for now.
We got the Dream Master. We've got the Dream Child, okay? And basically, Tricia Arquette refused to come back to the franchise after Dream Warriors. And good for her. Worked out. She did some much better things, I think. She did some pretty good dramas and everything. And, of course...
True Romance.
True Romance was the best. So bring in Tuesday Night to play Kristen now. And she picks up... So this is a sequel to the Dream Warriors. Let me see here. This is 1 year after the events of the Dream Warriors. Tuesday Night takes over the role of Kristen from Tricia Arquette, as we said. And then Kincaid and Joey from the Dream Warriors show up as well. And she's starting to have visions of Freddy again. And so she brings them into her dream like she used to. And they're like, God damn it, it's over with. Stop. You got to stop this. And then, of course, it's not. They're quickly killed. Kincaid and Joey are both killed fast. And then Freddy starts coercing Kristen to bring in some new blood. So Alice is brought in. Her friend Alice, very shy. So I think it's her boyfriend's sister or something like that. I don't even remember what the deal was. And so through her, he's able to get to Kristen, and she's killed, but not before she passes the Dream Master powers off to Alice. So, and every time one of her friends, now there's a new group of friends, anytime one of them die, she gets their talents. So she's absorbing all these other powers as the friends are getting picked off by Freddy. And man, it's completely Spuzz McKenzie, completely one-liners, nonstop. Everything's a fucking joke. Yeah, someone gets cut or stabbed or turns into a giant roach or something. You know what I mean? But man, what the fuck? This is where it's just too much of a cliche of itself, man. No. And Alice, as her friends die, she defeats Freddy. She figures it out, and they're all, he's done. What is this one? This one's the mirror, right? Yeah, this is the mirror. Shows his reflection. So he's a vampire, apparently. And that kills Freddy. He's gone. Boom. We go right to the next one, picks right up. And now she's dating and gets knocked up. And so Freddy starts using the baby to send nightmares and to channel these nightmares out and everything. And then there's like a little baby named Jacob, like a toddler, not a toddler, right? He's 4 or 5, 6 years old, I guess. And he's kind of guiding her through this whole thing, and it's through the baby, and it sucks. It just sucks. It's darker, but very silly.
Well, don't forget, we're introduced to Freddy's mom at this point, I believe. And
Amanda Kruger.
Yeah. Raped by 1,000 maniacs. Whatever it was. It's like, I don't know. It felt like in this one, they tried too hard to be dark.
Well, that's what I mean. But it's still... They set it up to be really, really disturbing, and then it just goes uber silly. Yeah. So she's having the baby and stuff, and I don't know, dude. Let me go here and Get back up here. Dream Master. Yep. There it is. Okay. Like, like Dan, she's calling out to Dan, like the boyfriend's showing up to come and rescue her. He falls asleep driving a fucking motorcycle. You know what I'm saying? And the motorcycle.
That's a pretty cool fucking scene, though.
The motorcycle looked cool, but I mean, oh, that's better not dream and drive. I wish I had my boo button still. Okay, she Alice ends up, there's the baby's there, and Freddy realizes he can use the baby, and she's dreaming about this baby they go into the church from the previous film where the mirror was, and Freddy's remains grows into an adult. It's the whole thing. It's like we're running around again. Let's see. Alice, she's got all the lineage of Freddy, so she, wants to tell her new friends about it. They refuse to listen. The other friends, Mark and Greta, they're more supportive. And then, Greta's like she's the model, everything. And Freddy, that's the one she turns her into. She force feeds her. And then she chokes to death in real life in front of everybody. But just not as good. Not as good, But they get an ultrasound, and then they discover that Freddy is using Jacob as a conduit to attack her friends even when she is awake. So the baby sleeps, Freddy can attack. Yvonne and Dan's parents believe Alice is crazy, so they want the baby. So she's battling that whole thing too, like custody and stuff. And when Alice and Mark research Amanda Kruger, they realize she's trying to stop Freddy and investigate her whereabouts. And then they realize that she's not around. They all fall asleep. They get pulled into the comic book world where he turns into a superhero and a supervillain. And it was like this is where the blood shit was going on with the MPAA and everything. So instead of having him cut to pieces and bloodied out, he turns into a paper comic book version and cuts that all up into pieces while he's screaming. Yeah, very cool. No, wasn't.
Not at all.
So Alice goes to bed. She finds Freddy and save her son. And then Freddy has been hiding within her every time she fell asleep. She draws Freddy out from within herself and finds Amanda's remains at the asylum. Amanda joins the fight in the dream world, encouraging Jacob to use the power Freddy had been giving him. Jacob destroys Freddy, the little guidance person, and the infant form is absorbed by his mother while Alice picks up the baby Jacob. And then Alice leaves. Amanda seals Freddy away in time. Several months later, Jacob Daniel Johnson is enjoying a picnic with his mother, grandfather, and Yvonne. You hear some children jumping rope and humming that famous song, hinting at the return of Freddy Krueger. Ooh. Yeah.
All right. FaZe, you'll appreciate this. The story for 2 is much better than 4 and 5. So there's no more hate on 2. I'll be honest.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah.
2 is far superior to 4 and 5, especially when it comes to the story. Now, I'll admit I like the kills of 4 and 5, but that's all I like. The story's trash. The acting's terrible. It's literally, if I rewatch these, which is very, very fucking rare, I'll fast forward, watch the kill, fast forward, watch the kill. I'm done. Like, that's it.
I see a lot of our peers always give praise to 4 and 5. That's their favorites. And I think a lot of it is that nostalgia thing you always talk about.
No, of course.
But conceptually, I think both of these were great concepts that they did not execute properly, or to my liking anyway. Dropped the ball on both cases.
Yes.
I don't know what else to say about them. I mean, like I said, I was tuning out of Nightmare on Elm Street big time after this.
Yeah, like I said, just the shtick got old.
The shtick got
By the
old.
time 5 came to an end, that shtick was old as fuck. Obviously, because we know what part 6 was about. So, yeah, I say he wore him out as welcome. He was a flash in the pan. He was, I don't know. Let me think of some comedian that came and fucking went. I don't know. For lack of a better example, say Andrew Dice Clay. His popularity came skyrocketed, and then he just fucking plummeted.
Ended up leveling off again, but I don't know. They could have got it right. We'll get into that in a minute, though. So we go to the final chapter in the Phantasm series. I'll try not to spoil it for Colonel too much.
I get it. That's fine. It's been out fucking forever. I've had my chance.
9 years, for fuck's sake. You know. So basically, what this was going to be webisodes. Remember webisodes, folks? Yes. And the webisodes were going to be the Chronicles of Reggie. So they were going to be 20-minute hits or 10-minute hits, 10-minute hits. And 9 of them. And they got it together, and then something fell through with the funding or the rights to broadcast it, and they were left with all these episodes. And so they decided to put them together. This is the only one not directed by Coscarelli. But he's heavily involved with the writing, and he was right there on set with the producing. So basically it picks up right at the end of 4, Reggie again in the desert searching for Mike, and things popping up here and there all around, like and everybody comes back at some point. We see Mikey, a new love interest, Jody, of course, the tall man, of course, lots of the little minions, lots of spheres, some bad CGI, but some pretty cool kills in this. Very cool kills. And then basically what we have, Reggie closing in, but then he wakes up on a park bench at a retirement home. And Michael walks up next to him and says, "Hey, Reg, how you doing?" And he's like, "Mikey, I've been searching for you this whole time. What the?" He's like, "Oh, yeah. I've heard some stories about this tall man you've told before. Yes, I you could tell me the whole story now. So you're not sure while you're watching it if it's Reggie or the tall man manipulating things. Got him in this repeating trap, which pretty much what it is. Like he ends up flipping Mike over, and Mike kind of plays them to get Reggie out, and they get him out, and then you realize there's all these different versions of all 3 of them. There's different worlds, different dimensions, almost like the Spider-Man thing, unfortunately. But it was 9 years ago, so I'll say that. And he ends up with like a almost John Connor Michael. They got like soldiers, they got goggles and shit. And when they show the outside, it's nothing but giant spheres in the sky, small ones, big ones, a red sky. So whatever that dimension was has come to Earth, and they're fighting. Like it's so, and then the kind of present that we see Reggie in Ravager when it starts is like the end before his reign begins with the tall man. So I mean, it's on, man. It's fucking cool. It's very cool. And once again, everybody's in it. The only one that doesn't show up is little Timmy from 3. Everybody else makes an appearance from the series. One of them just a cameo in the credits, but it's definitely, yes, this budget was $300,000, same as the original Phantasm. It absolutely fits. It's canon. It's continuity to the bitter fucking end. Ravager ends with tall man still doing his thing. They didn't defeat him. They're going to try. But he's still there. And there's thousands, tens of thousands of them. It's waiting every time one is defeated. So it doesn't seem like they're going to lose whatever they are, whatever beings they are. But very satisfying. It kind of ends with the car driving towards the city with giant balls up in the sky and stuff with the red sky. And it's great.
Nice.
I'm saying you got to watch it, man. You'll appreciate it.
Sounds like it closes up kind of nicely.
I mean, there's a couple of, things I can nitpick on it, but I'm not going to, because I appreciate so much what they did and the love and dedication and help from friends and J.J. Abrams, all these people that are Phantasm heads that got involved to help get Ravager made, the 4K version remastered. All of that shit is all because of them. But fantastic. I mean, let's keep going, man. Right to Freddy's Dead. The Final Nightmare. I wish. This is the fucking dog shit entry of the whole series.
Yes.
3D gimmick. That is the worst 3D you'll ever see. Lisa Zane. She wasn't a great lead, man.
No.
Nobody was. The acting is horrible in this one, man. We haven't been asking anybody out in the crowd what's going on with their thoughts on this shit, but if we get some prominence on it, so tell me I'm wrong with the acting in the fucking Final Nightmare.
Oh god, Final Nightmare is fucking, like you said, it's complete and utter shit. Like literally, I said 2 was whack. This one's whack.
Oh, when they get to the final, when we're gonna go get him, you don't even care by the time they get to that in Freddy's Dead. I remember walking out of that one going, what the fuck?
Like, I remember a kid being like, okay, the power glove, that was kind of stupid. I remember being more excited about Tom Arnold and Roseanne Barr being in this movie than the actual fucking movie. Like
cameos. That's what we were reduced to, cameos.
It's too bad.
Well, to be fair, I mean, you had cameos in 3 as well, Zsa Zsa Gabor, but
she was killed at least. I mean,
exactly. It's just, I don't know, Freddy's Dead.
That seems pretty far. Freddy's Dead. I mean, calling it hilarious. I mean, I don't know.
Hilariously bad.
Yes, I'll say so bad it's hilarious.
Hilarious in what way there, Bethany?
Just
Lord, man. I'm just gonna anyway.
Just move it on the new.
We don't like it.
Hello, Paula.
That was a money grab. I like to say Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan was the money grab of Friday the 13th. Freddy's Dead is that 3D gimmick.
And those 3 little fucking whatever.
What was it? What was it? Like 13 minutes of 3D shit in that?
I think so.
Something like that.
I don't know. I never seen it in fucking 3D, so I couldn't. But
I did. I have those glasses somewhere still. But fuck it, man. Yeah, fuck that movie. At this point, I didn't care about Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I did not go to the theater to see it. It doesn't really have anything to do with the continuity line of, much like Freddy's Dead, has nothing to do with the line. There's nobody returns from 5 in Freddy's Dead. Do they?
No, I don't think so.
No. It's like the dude that hits his head and shit and then steps through the fourth wall thing, remember? Oh, fuck. It was so bad. So, Wes Craven's back in the chair. I got a new idea to revive Freddy, but we're going to bring him to the real world for real while we're making a movie about the real world. Whoa. Can't believe I got that right.
No, I'm impressed.
So we got Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Heather Langenkamp's back. What's the kid's name? Miko Hughes.
Yeah, I can't remember the character's name though.
Who played it's Dylan.
That's right, Dylan's Nightmare, yeah.
He played Gage in Pet Sematary, and then he was the kid in this. And it's it's smart, man. It's smart. Freddy's back. He looks a little different. He's a little weirder, but it's
It's more demonic, which I appreciate.
Yes. But I mean, if you actually like get into the writing and stuff and what the dialogue's all about, dude, it's so fucking cool, man. It was meta before meta was cool. Just the fact that you have Robert Englund and Heather Langenkamp just kind of walking, playing themselves, you know? I mean, and then her husband's the effects guy. He gets killed. I mean, it's just so smart. It's very good. So I know it's a standalone movie, though. It doesn't have anything to do with our discussion, but we had to mention it, of course.
Yes.
So yeah, that kind of concludes the Nightmare on Elm Street run, you know. So we go right to the continuity of stories. We kind of been banging it the whole time. Phantasm, perfect, almost. Your antagonist,
It's smooth.
yeah, he's there the whole time, man. It's the same guy, the same mission, never changes.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, Phantasm, you have 5 movies telling them one long story. Nightmare, you have 5 out of 6 movies that are trying to tell you the same story.
It's almost like a comic book, like a 3-issue run here.
Yeah,
and there.
you have 1 with Nancy, 2 drops, 3 Nancy's back. Then you follow Patricia Arquette's character 4, 5, and then technically 6 doesn't really fall into that continuity either. So we'll drop 2 and 6 out of the list. So yeah, it's
and he runs.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a good way of putting it. Phantasm is one long story, and Nightmare is kind of like a comic book series. It can.
Yep. That's how I was writing it down when I was writing my little thing out and shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is, you know. So, and we love Freddy. We fell in love with Freddy. I guess we're kind of seeing that kind of similar thing with Art the Clown right now on a smaller level, but. Yeah, we still love Freddy. I mean, it's not even his. I still like the look of him and stuff, and I appreciated the jokes. I laughed at the stupid jokes at the time, but when I sat back and looked at it, I was like, I'd much rather see Freddy being scary than I would him cracking fucking one-liners.
Of course, I mean that's why the original Nightmare on Elm Street is considered a fucking masterpiece. It is. It's a masterpiece of fucking horror. Funny Freddy, it's good for a watch. I mean, I'll be honest. It would compare the two, do with continuity and stories. Faze even kind of said it earlier. Phantasm, you have to pay attention to. Nightmare on Elm Street, you just throw it on in the background for some background noise.
Yeah,
like he nailed it. Faze nailed it perfectly with that.
Well, I was playing cards and I put it on my big screen over here, and I'm playing along, and dude, I was like. Time and time again, I was sitting here just like into the movie, and all of a sudden, like my alarm to make a play. It's time to do something. Your action, asshole. What are you doing? So, I don't know, man. There's a lot more movies, Elm Street, I guess, but I mean, it made more money, yes, but satisfyingly telling a story, no way, man.
Joseph Scott says New Nightmare is a masterpiece.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Craven came back and found a way to shake out the bed sheets and make it cool again. And just using that, the real world inside the world was brilliant. Masterfully done. We kind of said things, how well the story's carried over. Boom, 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 boom. And boom. Boom. Boom, boom. Boom.
Yeah, it was like, boom, we fucked up. Boom, boom, boom. Let's end it.
Yeah, some people think we fucked up on part 2.
For God's sakes. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Financially, we fucked up.
Yeah, that'll give you.
And they still made money. I think Freddy's Revenge is still the highest grossing of all of them.
Really?
I'll have to double check that. But Tall Man versus Freddy is our main villains here. They both rule with what they do.
That's true. It's hard to pick one. I mean, it depends what you're in the mood for, really, because they're both great.
They're both
There's no
fantastic.
wrong answer here.
They both do. Yeah. I mean,
if we're going over the body of work, I'm going to say that Tall Man is the scarier villain.
Well, yeah.
I mean, nothing can match Freddy in the first one. I mean, come on. Like
when Tina rakes his face off, dude, and he just laughs. Holy fuck, dude. That still makes my hair stand up to this day. I love that shit, man. But Tall Man,
Freddy's more iconic though, because like I said, like mentioned earlier, we're comparing mainstream to underground for lack of a better terminology for this. Freddy's beloved by so many for so many reasons. Like, of course, he's a more interesting character. Definitely has way more personality than the Tall Man. So, boy, I mean, come on. You're comparing the two. Tall Man has the personality of a fucking basic rock. Freddy has the personality of a fucking diamond. But then again, like I said, overall, Tall Man's much scarier.
Yeah.
Just it's unsettling. Their story is much more unsettling because once we fucking went Spuds McKenzie with Freddy, there was no chance for scary anymore. You know, even if someone gets their fucking guts slashed out.
Yeah, overall, Tall Man for sure. But like the first couple movies, like Freddy has an edge there. Like, but if you like that, you know,
we just don't
comedy
know what
ass Freddy. Then
what is he? We'll never know what he is. He's just.
I mean, at this point we won't. But yeah, it's okay.
A dimensional
left in the air.
But yeah, man, I have to say, wow, I'm gonna Tall Man it, you know, just because, like Freddy, I said the same thing. I'm never gonna forget that fucking guy when I walked out of that fucking movie, you know. So, returning characters and recasting. We didn't have too much of that, and there's a whole bunch of fucking Nightmare on Elm Streets. But every time Heather Langenkamp showed up on a Nightmare on Elm Street set, I loved it. Tuesday Night was admirable. I'd much rather would have seen Arquette back in that role of Kristen, but what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people say Tuesday Night only got that job because Rennie Harlan was fucking her at the time, and, you know, kind of adds up when she also gets a single on the soundtrack. So, you tell me. I thought John Saxon coming back even in 3 was great. You know, I mean, recasting, Tuesday Night. That's really the only glaring one.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Everybody, it's the same thing. When you're showing up to a slasher to get killed and stuff, we just, you know, we know what's coming. And then, of course, the overall cast and acting, you know, Timmy is kind of over the top sometimes in Phantasm 3. That's the only one that really kind of took me out of it a little bit.
Yes, but I think this also has a lot to do with the recasting, the continuity and stuff. Because overall, I mean, you can't. This is where I have to give the edge to Nightmare. I mean, I appreciate that, you know, Phantasm, majority of the time, same actors playing the same characters throughout the whole movies. But, you know, they're small independent guys that made Phantasm 1, and Don just kind of took them along for the ride. It's where you've had some heavy hitters in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Some great acting. So the edge goes to Nightmare on this one, I'll be honest.
Well, they had to keep freshening it up, and they did kind of take that Friday the 13th pace and formula there just to get a new group of fucking kids, new friends. There's always 4 of them, usually 3 or 4 of them there. So, I mean, they went with it. That's why it worked. I mean, I'll agree. Nightmare on Elm Street had a little more depth with the casting, although I'm absolutely appreciative that our guys stayed in all 5 movies pretty much.
I do too.
Where did the franchise fail for you? If it did, 4.
For what, Nightmare?
Yeah, for Nightmare. And Phantasm, it didn't. Because I like Ravager now, man. After watching it a few times now, it fits. I accept it.
See, like I said, still need to watch Ravager, so my answer is a little biased because I haven't seen the entire franchise like I have Nightmare on Elm Street. I guess if I had to pick one, it's Phantasm 4, but it's just because of how low the budget was and what kind of movie they had to make. It still doesn't mean it's a bad movie. To where for me, I mean, I'm with you as much as I dislike 2. I still see 2 as like a standalone, like Wes Craven's New Nightmare. To where 1, like I said, the 1, 3, 4, and 5 kind of run to the same stories run together. 4 it's just like, ugh. It's just that whole 4 and 5, man, totally are just, even as a kid watching 6, I knew it was gonna be shit. Like,
it was just a shock to see Freddy that playful after 1 and 2 and 3, pretty much.
right, so,
I understand he started to get the playfulness in 3, but there was still that sinister thread through it, man.
well, let me ask you this, because I'm as old as Freddy as far as years on this earth. So I was just a little kid while this is coming up. You were living it. So with Freddy's mainstream appeal, how did that correlate with the character? Because I mean, like I said, you got the 900 numbers, the pajamas, the toys, the spinoff series. Like, was the Freddy Mania really that hype?
It made him absolutely not scary, and yes, it was. You had those commercials. He fucking showed up in the Fresh Prince video. He showed up in the fucking all of it, dude. He was just. That's right.
Yeah, part 4 for Nightmare, and I fell asleep on part 4 for Phantasm. But if I wasn't so tired, I mean, it probably wouldn't have it all. I probably would enjoy all 5 movies for Phantasm if I had more time.
Part 4 for Nightmare on Elm Street, Tommy McLaughlin was offered that directing job. He wanted full creative control, just like he had on Freddy's or Jason Lives. They said, absolutely not. We've already started shooting. And he just said, without a director? He goes, I don't roll like that. I'm out. So who knows? We could have had a Tommy McLaughlin entry in Elm Street. Could have put us on a completely different path that probably would have fucking been way better. Not to take anything away from Rennie Harlan. Thanks, buddy. I mean, you did do a fine job. It just wasn't for me.
Joseph Scott says, guys, 2 words. Halloween Ends.
Yes.
Wrong franchise, but fair enough.
True enough. We purposely left Freddy versus Jason and the remake off because they have nothing to do with this particular discussion.
Yeah.
But I'll just say for fucking Freddy versus Jason, when Ronnie Yu announced that he'd never seen a Friday the 13th movie, I knew we were in trouble. So that's that.
That was fun. That was a fun watch in the theater, though.
Yeah. I mean, but can you imagine if they had done it right, the crossovers we would have gotten if it would have made the money it was supposed to make?
Oof. Would they have been any good, though?
Jason versus Michael, Leatherface. We'd have had all that shit, dude. Just like the Universals.
It would have been overplayed before long, though, I feel like. I don't know.
I just know if they can work it out and get them out on a DVD set, different studios, it can be done. Money talk.
You gotta get the different studios that have all the rights to them to agree. I mean, Freddy versus Jason is easy because New Line owned the rights at that point.
Right.
Overall writing, direction, and gore. Wow.
I'll be quick. First 2. Phantasm. Gore. You have to give the edge to Nightmare on Elm Street just because of the creative kills.
the ball, man.
No, I agree, but
That's fucking righteous, dude. That shit. I'd never seen any shit like that.
Like Nightmare is more creative, but Phantasm is more like scary as far as the gore goes. Like
the same thing with Elm Street, dude. When Tina's flipping around that fucking room and just bleeding all over the place.
Oh, that was fucking amazing.
What the fuck? And her body getting dragged by nobody down the hump, flopping arm in the blood.
Terrifying, dude.
So good. It's tough to say with gore, honestly. Yeah.
Well, hey, man. The first two movies, I got to go with Craven on Elm Street 1, and I'll give him the gore, too, and the writing. I mean, but, dude, Phantasm, man, once they... It doesn't seem fair not to give him something on that, but, I mean, it's just the reality of it. That's a small-budget movie, and they didn't have a gore budget.
Twins say they thought the blood in Phantasm looked like tomato soup. Maybe
watch the 4K version. They fixed it. Yeah, there's so many good kills in Elm Street. Tina's the one though. Yeah, so I'll go with the gore on Elm Street 1. That's for sure.
Yeah, why not?
We'll go at Wes Craven. Thank you. You know, Don, look, dude, I mean, that's not taking anything away from what you wrote with Phantasm, man. Fuck, dude. That is your brain should be studied after you go, sir. To see what kind of mind thinks of that, you know? I mean, it's so fucking crazy. It's like sci-fi, but a nice coating of horror on it. All right. And then the final consensus. Yeah, man. Who knows? If Wes Craven had stayed on and banged out 5-6 movies in a row, maybe this discussion isn't happening tonight. But Don Coscarelli and his team did crank out 5 fucking movies with the same line and decades between them at times, and still delivered a believable story through. Where, yeah, you know, every couple of years I get an Elm Street, you know, a 3-year arc, you know, 3 movies or something that kind of tie together a little bit. But honestly, they were still the general basic formula for slashers if in the long run. Were they not?
No, they were. They followed the trope and everything. Like I said, this is where, you know, Phantasm for me, it wins by a mile as which one, you know, franchise is better. Like we said, coherent story, consistency in acting, you know, director, writer, actors. Yes, Nightmare on Elm Street has one of the most terrifying films ever made, but that's it. After that, it's even when Wes came back in, it just nothing could reach what Nightmare on Elm Street 1 was.
Right.
You were never going to catch that magic in a bottle twice. It's the same scary, terrifying movie. It's just, and I'll be honest, from my opinion, Freddy's one of the worst fucking slashers. I'm just not a fan of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. It's a terrible fucking story. Not as terrible as Halloween, but it's still pretty fucking terrible. I mean, let's be honest. Let's go from 3 through 5, or 3 through 6. If Freddy didn't have much of a personality, would it, like you said, if Wes Craven stayed on, would we be talking a different story? If Freddy didn't have that personality, well, we've gotten 6 fucking sequels. I don't think so. I think it would have kind of gone the Texas Chainsaw route probably, and so they only had 2 or 3, and would have been the end of it.
Fuck, I don't know, man, because the money was there after the first one, man. Like people
of course, that's why we got a second one,
and that one really raked it in.
Yeah, and then we got a third. It's the same story, you know, Friday the 13th. It kept making enough money where it was profitable. Once it stopped being profitable, they ended the franchise. And then tried to resurrect it a couple times.
Pretty much.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, with Nightmare, it's like, I mean, I like I said throughout the show, I prefer the second movie, but I do recognize the first one as the better film. I mean, come on, let's be real here. But Phantasm is just purely consistent. If we're talking about which one the better series is, it's obviously Phantasm. Just purely out of consistency, and just Nightmare just goes from being, part 1 and 2 kind of scary to being what somebody in the chat described as the horror Avengers in part 3, which is a really good way to put it. It changes so much.
And you guys are online. You see people bitching all the time. Oh, there's no consistency. There's no continuity in Friday the 13th. Phantasm has that. But like I said, no one ever talks about it.
It's true.
Again, because like I said, they didn't sell, tall man dolls with pull string, boy. But I know they did. And Rick mentioned it. I remember my friend had one. The Freddy dolls, the merchandising was there. The popularity was there. That's why people are probably going to get in the comments after this goes off the air on YouTube or on Facebook. Oh, you guys are so wrong. Nightmare's way better. It's because most of them probably never even heard of Phantasm beyond the first one, or even bothered to watch a single Phantasm film.
We've caught up though.
That's the only one we got and that's been out like 20 years now.
Yeah. I forgot to put out a poll, and I think I'm still going to do one after the show just to see where people are at between Phantasm and Nightmare. It'll probably lean Nightmare, but we'll see.
There's not a whole lot of comments out there tonight, so let's just see here. Let's pull them up and take a quick look.
They were at first, but they slowed down. A lot of people had to leave early.
Oh, yeah, they're all here still. A couple of them are.
Yeah.
I'm looking at them.
Still got 19 people here. Tyrone says Phantasm.
Yeah.
Rick says he'll get back to us.
Nobody's wrong.
No.
I understand if you're trying to put the nostalgia thing behind, though, and just look at the quality of the films as a whole. That is what needs to happen.
Turn on my chair, stop.
Good old Elvira. She knows it's time to end the show.
No.
It's 9 o'clock, bitches.
She's like, it's bedtime.
Fantastic. He's only seen the first. You mean the first Phantasm?
Yeah, probably. I mean, he's obviously seen the other Nightmares.
Oh, fuck, brother. It's all right, though. He'll go down that rabbit hole pretty quick, man. He got all sucked into the Fulci tornado. Well,
yeah, guys.
You can hit us on the socials too, and if you want to, if we pissed anyone off sufficiently, you can continue the debate there.
DM us anywhere. Join our Discord. Yell at us on there. We don't care, man. Anywhere.
We get on there from time to time just to hear, see what's going on. God damn it, you guys are full of shit. No, we're not. But two great franchises. I mean, one is just slightly better than the other.
I will, Twins. I'm sure she's sleeping now, but I'll let her know.
Oh, the Sarge?
Yeah. These guys got a whole ass conversation with her before we went on the air.
Yeah.
It's all about the Phantasm, man.
Got another vote for it from Joshua.
Joshua, my man. And I know he likes Freddy. I know he's a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street, so. And we love Robert. We love Freddy. I've met Heather a couple of times. I've met Nick Corey. Probably a couple of more from the franchise. Oh, Ken Sagos, of course. Kincaid, we've met him. Run out in the field. So, I mean, I love him. But man, I'll tell you what, if I'm going to go reach for something and I don't know what it is, if it's going to be Phantasm or Nightmare, it's going to be first, it's going to go down to the first two, like Nightmare 1, Phantasm 1, and then I'm going to reach for Phantasm 9 out of 10 times, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be honest. If I want to watch a movie, I'll go with Phantasm. Stealing from Phase again. If I want something just for background noise, I'd check every once in a while. I'm going with Nightmare. Not so much the first one, but the Nightmare franchise.
Sure.
Sounds like I need to give for Faye's sake, give 2 another watch. Maybe I won't be so harsh on it this time.
Give it some love.
There you have it. The first edition of the Resurrectionists, taking apart Phantasm and A Nightmare on Elm Street for your digestion. Hopefully, we sorted it out. If not, I don't know. I think maybe we'll, if it's a franchise like this, maybe we'll pick 2 or 3 films from it, maybe our favorites, just to bring it down a little bit. That's kind of a lot to get through. But I still think it was cool. I enjoyed it. Just getting into these things, just because if nothing else, classics like this deserve to be revisited and dug into every once in a while. That's all.
Like I said, I'm disappointed. Like I said, we've been talking about this for years.
Yeah.
And it finally comes to fruition. And I'm over here like, fuck. Hold on. I'm disappointed.
Yep.
But,
hold on.
Yeah. But no, it's still a lot of fun. Like I said, if you guys liked it, let us know in the comments. Like I said, I think the structure still needs to be a little more developed, but I think this is something we can have going here. I think it'd be pretty fun.
Like talk about these retro movies. It'd be fun.
Maybe we just maybe we would take Dream Warriors, Elm Street 4, Elm Street 5, like that, and then another franchise, like Friday 2, 3, 4, something like that. Compare it like that. We'll see. We'll tweak it. We'll fuck with it. And by all means, if you have a suggestion of a movie or franchise you'd like to see dissected, resurrected, then we would be happy to hear from you too. So cool.
Because we're going to dig a little deeper,
a little bit deeper.
So I just love the fact that the name can go both ways. Resurrectionists, resurrecting the dead, and then I'm like, there were grave robbers in the village. It's called the Resurrectionists.
Yeah, I got in a fucking
nerdy with the name. Like, what do you think of this?
I went down a rabbit.
I can't find the other fucking nickname from grave robbers back in the medieval times.
Everything I saw wasn't cool.
Yeah.
No,
it was just kind of like
still bugging me.
But yeah, man, absolutely. Anytime, I can talk about Phantasm and Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, there's hundreds we could revisit. So could be things thrown in up the road. But for this week, there you have it. FaZe, what do we got going on next week?
Next week, I'm excited for this one. We are reviewing The Monkey. It's finally coming out. Oh man, those trailers have been good. I hope it's good, man. I hope it's not a disappointment. Fuck, man. I'm dying for a good movie right now after Hard Eyes shit. And it looks so good. I love the book. Let's come on, man. Let's just be good.
I was hoping for a break from the theater, but all right, that's fine. For that Regal Unlimited use, it's all right.
Keep
for the Monkey, though, come on.
It looks good.
It does.
All right. Well, before we have Colonel take you out, let's thank the final girls and guys: Christy, C-Phase, Lorena, BD, Alex, Robert, and Tyrone, the Crazy Ralphs, Bell's Fancy Creations, Dr. Smiley, Raymond, and the whole damn enchilada podcast. Thursdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, our camp counselors: Adam, Corey, Christy, Luke, Lou, Jimmy, Rachel, Stacy, Orlando, Chuck, Dave, Carl, Patricia, Kristen, and JJ. Thanks to our producer, the man. Oh, wait. Yeah. Join
become a member.
DeathCrewSociety.com. Find your tier, find your level, and support the DCS, and we'll love you even more. Thank you. And see motherfucking FaZe, associate producer, turning the dials and the knobs and keeping everybody in check in the chat room. He's right there. Thanks, brother. Next week, you heard him. We've got review The Monkey, and should be a good fucking time. Colonel, take us out.
My tooth is fucking killing me, so don't get sick. Wash your dick, like myself, and don't smell like a Scuba Steve. You Summer's Eve. And how funny was that Scuba Steve on Facebook? You take,
dude. I saw that. I went, holy shit. Yeah, inside joke, folks. But yeah, Scuba Steve lives for real. Yes. All right, man. Yeah, thanks so much. It's been a blast going down retro lane with you tonight. Back to the modern next week. So That's Monday for you. It's all done. We made it. Congratulations. Death Curse Society going off the air. I'm Zigzag for the Phase, for the Colonel, and for Red Crank, who's on assignment. We'll see you next week. DCS out. Woo!
What?
Just in the middle of a dream, I was kissing Valentino by a crystal blue Italian stream. But I can't be late, 'cause then I guess I just won't get paid. These are the days when you wish your bed was already made. It's just another manic Monday. It was Sunday, 'cause that's my fun day. I don't have to run day. It's just another manic Monday. I wish it was Sunday, 'cause that's my fun day. It's just another manic Monday.
Well, we're waiting.
What? What did you say?